Yeah.
Playing demolition derby.
Good evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, October 9 City Council meeting. Glad you all made it out tonight. We'll begin this evening by reading the roll.
Councilmember Starr.
Here.
Staley. Here. Brecky.
Here.
Erickson. Here. Kiley.
Here.
Neitzer.
Here.
Selberg.
Here.
Sale.
Here. We're honored tonight to have Reverend Brett Bess with us from Emmanuel Baptist Church. Reverend Bess has been with us before and is going to give our invocation for the evening, and then we'll remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. So I ask that you rise, and Reverend Bess will lead us in an invocation.
Let us pray. Our Father and Creator, we pause to be appropriately grateful for your gifts, including the ability to gather on this occasion. In a kindly spirit, we pray for grace, patience, and compassion to crown these deliberations. May the most ordinary business be another step in a truly great turn of achievement, including the provision of equality of opportunity for all our residents. Bind the darkness, we ask you, to give light and life the space it needs to thrive. Mindful of those whose livelihood is derived directly from the land, we ask you for a merciful deliverance from this rain, for safety in harvest, and an abundance of provision. As always, if your will does not satisfy these pleas, we rely on your wisdom and trust that all will end well. God, please bless Sioux Falls and our leaders. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you especially for the part of the deliverance from rain. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Reverend Best. We will now move on to our consent agenda and ask if there's any changes to the consent agenda or a motion.
Move to approve.
Second, Erickson.
To approve by Councilor Kiley, seconded by Erickson.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to amend by moving agenda item 12 immediately before item 7.
Pardon me, Mr.
Okay, that will be for our regular agenda, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So right now we're just approving the consent agenda.
Oops, sorry. I jumped the gun.
That's all right.
I'm
Am I
excited.
doing this right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, though. We will get to that. Any discussion on the consent agenda? If not, a motion to approve that, please. Or, excuse me, a roll call vote to approve that, please.
Councilmember Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Brecky.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Kiley.
Yes.
Neitzer.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Sale.
Yes. We will now move to the regular agenda.
Move to approve, Erickson.
Second.
Motion approved by Erickson, seconded by Kiley. Councilor
Mr. Mayor.
Selberg. Yes.
I'll make a motion to amend by moving item 12 immediately before item 7.
Second.
Okay, motion to move item 12 immediately before item 7, made by Selberg and seconded by Erickson. Can I get a roll call vote on that, please?
Councilmember Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Brecky.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Kiley.
Yes.
Neitzer.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Sale.
Yes. All right, that amendment is passed 8-0. We're back to the amended main motion. Any further changes to the regular agenda? If not, a vote on that, please.
Councilmember Starr.
Yes.
Staley. Yes. Brecky.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Kiley.
Yes.
Neitzer.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Sale.
Yes. That is passed 8-0. We'll now move on to public input portion of tonight's agenda. As a reminder, during this portion, it will last no more than 30 minutes. Because public input for all regular agenda items will be taken, you're asked to limit your general public input to topics not appearing later on in the agenda. For this portion and regular agenda items, speakers are limited to no more than 3 minutes unless additional time is granted by the council. At this time, I'd like to invite members of the public forward, and please note the time is 7:05. Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Heather Pastor. Just gonna read something. This is going like a very long time ago. It took a long time for me to get the right documentations, but I had a concern about a past payee. I don't do payees anymore because I had 4 of them in the past, and all 4 of them did fraudery. And it did to both me and my deceased mom. I got documentations because they told me I had to put a request in to get the documents against a guy that goes by the name Greg Miller. He's done forgery to other people, and the people from SSI told my case manager over the phone, we'll send Heather the documentations, but she's not going to get no back pay. And that's kind of, the payee thing's not a problem. What the problem is that what my issue is in this state is people and places that refuse to do what they're supposed to do, and slumlords that do things like, lackness of maintenance, breaking into people's places, harassing people, verbally threatening people, physically attacking people, putting people in the hospital. Tenants that are actually found in their home when their fiancés or boyfriends when they come home in bad situations or dead. But yet they come here to you guys and get permission to be able to rent a business while they're antagonizing people and doing all kinds of criminal acts. I had 4 different used to be payees before I found a way to become in control of my own money. Now, me handling my own money is not a problem. I got told personally by a woman that used to be at Social Security, Donna. She's not there no more, but she told me how impressed she was when I met with her because I sent her proof showing that I have the ability to handle my own money. Well, my issue is if people in this state is not going to do the jobs which you people of the city pay them to do, I'm sorry for saying this, but then maybe the city should be paying the individual that can't get the help on their own, because it's like doors being shut on my face. Me, James, we're still trying to get a place of our own. Like I said last time I came here, I do have my first civil matter set up. I wanted to get a real pro bono attorney, but nobody would budge because of the telling the different stories and stuff. So I finally got Colleen, who's been great with me, to get the right information for me to get my suit. So now I'm taking it through the courts itself. This is not directed towards my new landlord. I'm talking about my past landlords. When a person is renting from somebody, their landlord job is to collect the rent and to be up to date with the places. That's it. That's where the job ends. Not harassment, not verbal threats, not physically attacking people, not killing people, and definitely not when a woman is at work, her man at work and get attacked.
Thanks, Heather.
Sorry, that's just my opinion. God bless y'all.
Good evening.
Hello, Mayor. Guys, how are you guys today? I'm James. Last week, I just want to rebuttal because I told somebody I would do this. We're still at where we are, but that's kind of like, we was talking about like the old landlords, like way back, okay? But anyway, I tried to number that, I can't pronounce her name. Stacy? Give me so I can get on a list to talk to you. Well, I called the secretary and she hasn't called me back yet. Because there's issues I'd like to talk to you about and to find out if I can do something, which is totally legal, okay? But I just want to say that I'm still hanging in, and I still get thanked from officers, for helping, and watching a couple blocks territory, keeping the peace down, running people off that don't belong there, around a couple blocks. But I know it's tough for you guys. I know it's tough for everyone. It's not easy. And I'm just saying that I'm still hanging in there, still going forward. And guys, just keep up the good work, because you can only do so much. Just like I said before, you can help people, but they always have to take that first step to want to do it. It's like the old saying is, like I said before, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You know, and it's not easy. I know it's tough, and I do watch the meeting afterwards. You know, on TV. To listen to what other people say, and some of the things that other people say is, OMG. You don't know how bad. If I had more time, I would love to have a upfront face conference with them, because it's BS, most of it, okay? You guys keep up the good work, okay? Have a good night.
Thank you, James. James, someone from my office too will reach out to you to meet with us. We got your message. She did call you back, so I want you to know that I'm ready to meet with you and Heather. So that will happen. Anyone else for public input this evening? Clerk, next item, please.
Item 12, a motion to provide advice and consent for the appointment of Sean Pritchett as Director of Finance.
All right, I have passed the gavel to Councilor Chair Erickson so I can speak to this item. Tonight, it's my honor to bring forward Sean Pritchett as my appointee for our Director of Finance position for the city. This has been the last link in the chain in terms of hiring to fill a cabinet that had some gaps in it. Stacy Koischer being the most recent, along with Jason Reisdorfer, our Director of Innovation Technology, who's also here. You'll notice when Sean comes forward, my last two hires have been about 6'5", and so we have the tall guys covered in City Hall. But Sean is a fantastic hire for the city. I'm very honored that he's willing to step into the arena and join us in the city. Sean has an extensive experience working in finance, but specifically in an area that's going to be very important to my administration, and that's accessible and affordable housing. And having been most recently with Costello Companies for many years as the COO there, I had a chance to speak with Dan Costello after I made this hire, and Dan said, he said, Paul, no offense to previous finance directors, but this guy will go down as the best finance director in the history of the city. And so that's a pretty great statement to hear from a gentleman like Dan. So I'm really excited about that. Sean is a Gopher, University of Minnesota economics minor and public policy MBA, so he's got a political bent to him as well. I would be remiss if I didn't also point out the gentleman sitting right behind Sean over there in Tom Huber, who has been pulling the plow for the last 4 or 5 months in the absence of a city finance director, got us through a 2019 budget approval, a CIP budget approval, and I think I'll speak for everyone in the dais when I say thank you to Tom for all the work that you've done during that time as well. So I know you as counselors have had a chance to meet with Sean and hopefully give him the business a little bit. So at this point, I would love to invite Sean forward if you would be so kind. And Sean, if you have anything you'd like to say to us, address us, we would sure take your comments at this time. So you're going to have to raise those mics about a foot. There you go. Welcome, man.
Thank you. Had an opportunity to meet with each of the council members here over the last week, and that was really a pleasure for me to get to know you both professionally and personally. It was from the very first time I met with the mayor and with Erica and Tom and each of you council members, one of the things that I think resonated with me was the amount of energy and passion that each of you have for this city. And I hope that, I think this is a privilege for me to be able to serve in this capacity. I hope that I'm able to channel that and direct it toward the work that I would be doing each and every day. So I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to working with you should you give your consent today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you leave, can you please introduce your family? I know they're here as well, and so we'd be happy to have you introduce your family.
Yes, so my lovely wife, Erin, will be 20 years next year, married. So my oldest daughter, Adelie, and she is a sophomore in high school, and my middle child is Bryson, and he's also a Gopher fan, and he is in third grade at Patrick Henry, and then my youngest daughter, who is in, seventh grade, third grade. Numbers aren't good for me. My youngest daughter, Josie, who's in third grade at John Harris Elementary. So.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open it up for public comment from anyone in the audience. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll turn it over to the council. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this item and or motions? Councilor Staley.
Well, I had the honor of meeting with Sean, and I have to say I agree with the mayor that I think Sean seems to be a fantastic hire for this position. As I spoke with him, I felt that he exemplified a professional attitude. He seemed to me to be a young man full of integrity. He had a respectful attitude towards the public. We discussed several different elements of government and how it affects the public. Sean has a solid education, and I found that he had a great diversification of experience. He has his master's degree, as the mayor had mentioned, and he has his bachelor's with a political science and economic business endorsement tied to that. And Sean also mentioned that he had worked under the branch of the Minnesota Supreme Court. And in that position, he implemented new technology and he handled the budget within that entity, which I thought was very impressive. He's worked for a bank, he's worked at the Costello Company, and also I did mention when Jason was sworn in or approved of his salary, which was the same as the outgoing IT director. Sean, however, Tracy Turbeck was getting $177,000. Sean is coming in at less than that, at $162,000. Now, that's not including the 30% in benefits. So the public has a right, of course, to know what we make and what our employees are making. So he's not, even though he's got great experience, he's not getting the same amount that our former finance director did. Sean, as we just talked, he said two things that I wrote down that I thought were very telling about how he might perceive the public. He said, and I think we all need to be cognizant of this, Sean said, you have to be able to listen to people who disagree with what you believe in. And we do have to have thick skins, I acknowledge that, and we are here to serve everyone. And he also believes in bringing all voices to the table and that all people have a right to be represented. And I really applaud him for that attitude as well. So it's with great excitement that I welcome him. And to my recollection, he's the youngest finance director we've ever had. So you're actually bringing a lot of new life into our city administration, Mayor. So thank you.
Councilor Kiley.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'd be very happy to make the motion to approve Sean for this very important position as Director of Finance. When I went to my meeting with Sean, I'd mentioned to my wife that I was going to be meeting our future finance director, and she asked me, well, what do you know about finance? And I said, well, at least I know 2 + 2. So I jokingly asked it. My first question was, what's 2 + 2? And to my surprise, he'd already been asked that question by members of our local media. So that had already been covered. But now I'm finding out that you're really not good at numbers after all. So I guess it was a relevant question. But no, I think we moved on to some more relevant questions after that. Sean answered everything just superbly. And so it is my pleasure to support your nomination for this position this evening.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other comments, questions? Councilor Brecky?
Just a comment. I was extremely impressed with his eclectic background. That's how I would describe it. He's just got, but everything that he's done is different and highly unique, but extremely relevant. So at such a young age, you do bring to the table just a lot of valuable background. I think that positions you so well for this position. And I would be remiss if I didn't say it, because we're all asking him, questions and learning about him, but my favorite thing is that he, has done actual work in long-range strategic planning. He's actually done the groundwork. He's gone to various communities and actually, gotten those communities to reach out and get the information that creates long-range strategic plans. And that's something that the council's probably hearing until they are just tired of me hearing it or saying it, but that is something that is so important to me. And I think a big chunk of our conversation, we talked about that and how beneficial that would be for the city of Sioux Falls. And his background in that is he's someone like, I've never met anyone who's actually done the groundwork, the legwork for that kind of thing. So that expertise is going to be valuable in addition to all the other various things that he's done. So welcome. We look forward to having you. I'm really excited about the team you've put together. I think it has the potential to really generate some excitement and some new things and really push this city forward in this next 2 decades. I really do think that you've put together what you need to do. So congratulations to you, Mayor, as well.
Any other comments or questions?
I would second the motion.
Can just so we have it in the right order, can you go ahead and make your motion and we'll second it again just for...
I move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. There's been a motion to approve and a second. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selber?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
That is approved 8-0. I am passing the gavel back.
It would not be rude if your family left now, but you can certainly stay as well. Next item, clerk.
Item 7, first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, conveying Lot 19 except Lot H1 contained therein, and Lot 20 except Lot H1 contained therein, all in Block 1 of Greater Sioux Falls addition to the City of Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, South Dakota.
Hey, Kurt.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I'll do a good job of bringing the height down just a little bit. So.
Thank you.
Item number 7, this parcel of land is in the northwest corner of 8th Street and Cliff Avenue and contains about 6,800 square feet. City purchased the property for $120,000 in 2015 for public right-of-way needs at the intersection. There was a house there that was eliminated, a house and shed that was eliminated. It was causing some sight distance issues there, which restricted the right on red movement. And so since that has been removed, the right on red is now allowed, improving the intersection efficiency. The city has filed H lots on the Cliff Avenue side of the property for future right turn for southbound traffic to westbound 8th. There's also some area there that may be used for a gateway signage for coming into downtown Sioux Falls. At the end of 2017, the property was appraised at, the remaining property was appraised at $21,000. In the summer of 2018, City Council declared the property as surplus. In July of 2018, the property was offered by sale by sealed bid. We received one bid for $11,125. Because of the size, the location, it's somewhat of a remnant and really can only be combined efficiently with the adjoining property. Engineering recommends approval.
Thanks, Kurt. Is there anyone from the public here to speak on this item? Councilors, you have questions for Kurt on this. Councilor Staley.
So, Kurt, what are they going to be doing with the property?
The resolution or ordinance in front of you, it will be sold to the property to the west. There's a house or something there that on the yellow shaded portion will be sold to the portion of
right, but what are their options for that property then? Could they put a shed back on there, or
that I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, because you have a visual element that you need to keep clear, right? So they would be somewhat limited as to what they could put there?
The H lot, the H lots that were reserved would take care of our needs for any transportation uses. I don't know that there are any restrictions on what they can and can't do on the yellow portion, but we did reserve what we need to utilize the intersection efficiently and not restrict any movements.
Other questions for Kirk? Counselor Neitzer.
Just, could you help us? What is an H lot?
It's a highway lot, H lot. So when we purchase property for right-of-way, it's sitting there as an H lot, but it sort of gets incorporated into the right-of-way. It's defined as lots H1 within lot 19 and lot 20. It's a highway lot. There are other, sometimes we use E-lots for certain things. It's just a naming convention.
Okay, it has nothing to do with the
highway.
shape. It's not a
Nope.
H shape. So I'd assume it's a strip of land that's running parallel to Cliff Avenue there.
Correct. There are two H lots. One, if you look at the yellow shaded portion, there's kind of a jog east and west. There's one H lot north of that and one H lot south of that.
Okay, so the city retains ownership of that unshaded portion.
Correct.
And then one of the basic zoning rules I could point out is that you would have the intersection safety zone, which would be essentially you go to the corner of their property line, and you have to go 30 feet up and 30 feet across, draw a diagonal, and that whole space is reserved, and you can't have anything larger than 4 feet tall. It's called the intersection safety zone. So somebody can't even put a fence that's more than 4 feet tall in that particular, for sight distances for turns. So I would assume they've got some restriction on what they can do there.
Correct.
So.
I have another question.
Counselor Staley.
So I'm just curious, could you put a house on that lot?
I don't know the zoning. There was a house on it. I don't know.
It was removed because it was a site problem though, right?
Correct.
So what I'm wondering is if it's appraised at $21,000, and why wouldn't we have advertised it for sale with a realtor to get the maximum amount versus going, because I would think in a sealed bid situation, you probably wouldn't, you're going to go low to start with. So why didn't the city advertise this with a realtor?
That I'm not sure. And
maybe it was because it can't be used for anything else. If that would be one thing. But if that's a lot that it looks like it's a nice sized lot, if you could have a house built on that, then I don't see why the city would give something away at half price. But who would have the answer to that?
This is a first reading, so it will be back, I believe, next week, and we can check into that. I believe.
Okay. Yeah, well,
not
just,
sure
and
who
what
will
the
be back.
protocol is for city, I mean, when we do sell off property, do we just give it, do we try to get the maximum amount, or do we just give it away? Thank you.
Other questions for Kurt?
I'll move to set the second reading for Monday, October 15th.
Second. Okay, motion by Erickson, seconded by Sale. Any other discussion, council?
Mr. Mayor, did
Councilor
we
Starr.
need to take public input in its first reading?
Yep.
I did ask for public
Did you?
input.
I'm
Yep, no one was here to speak on it, so.
No, we're good then.
Any other discussion? If not, a vote on that, please.
Councilmember Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Brecky,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Kylie,
Yes.
Neitzer,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That passes 8-0. Item 8.
First reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, providing supplemental appropriations for affordable housing projects.
Good evening, Lester.
Good evening, Mayor. How are you?
Great, how are you, man?
I'm Les Kinstead. I'm the Affordable Housing Manager for the city. We've had a chance to talk both individually and in meetings like this, so it's nice to see you all again. The appropriation that we're bringing in tonight, along with Tom and the folks from Finance, first of all, I should make it clear at the beginning, this is not a new appropriation of dollars. These are dollars that are already on hand. They're available. The only thing we're asking for tonight is the authorization to spend those dollars, and I'll explain a little bit why. There are two aspects to this particular request. The first is that I don't know if some of you will remember, some of you weren't here at that time, but the City Council 2.5, 3 years ago made a practice for a 2.5-year period, or 3-year period of time to appropriate dollars for affordable housing. It was called the Large Affordable Housing Fund. And I see some nods here, people are recalling that. And it was $1 million, or excuse me, $500,000 the first year, $1 million the second year, and $1 million the third year. So we had a total of $2.5 million that funded, I'm saying upwards of 5 or 6 projects that we had over the time. I wouldn't be able to quote all of them right off the top of my head, but this project is the last project that we have in conjunction with that fund. It's called Majestic Heights. It's out at 41st and Sparta, out on the east side of town, just east, about 6 blocks from 41st and Highway 11. So that's where it's located. The mayor just cut a ribbon and had an opening there for the first building they're doing. This will be the second building. The project's about $7 million. We have $500,000 in it, and those funds were appropriated prior in 2017 for this project. The thing with our kinds of projects is that they typically, especially when projects are that size, they can take 2 and 3 years before you get through the full cycle. So that's the reason why we're here tonight and having to reappropriate the dollars that were appropriated in 2017. That's one of the projects. The other project, the second project that we're talking about is, as you may recall, we've talked about gearing up our neighborhood revitalization program, where we've been producing more single-family affordable houses. This will give us a chance to get a head start on next year's dollars. We do have the dollars in hand, and those funds are, like I said, they're available and in hand. And with this appropriation, we'll have the authorization to spend those, and we'll be eating 7 basements in the ground here before snow flies, although judging from the weather tonight, we may have to go like crazy to do that. But point being, we'll get the basements in the ground and get started so we can work through the winter. So those are the two projects. It's $1.4 million for the 7 houses, and it's $500,000 for the other one, so $1.9 million total. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Les. Before that, anyone from the public here to speak on this item? Councilors, questions for Les?
I'll move to set the date of second reading for Monday, October 15th.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilor Erickson, seconded by Councilor Kiley. Further discussion on that, or do you have an additional comment?
No, I don't have additional. I just didn't catch what you'd said.
Okay. Any additional discussion? If not, a vote on this, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley? Yes. Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Les. That passes 8-0. Item 9.
A resolution vacating the 14-foot alley right-of-way lying west of and adjacent to lots 1 through 24 in Block 89 of Sioux Falls Improvement Company's addition to the city of Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, South Dakota.
Good evening, Mayor. Kurt Peppel, Mayor and Council, sorry. Kurt Peppel, Public Works Engineering. The alley that's in question is near Madison Street and Louise near the fairgrounds. Originally dedicated in the late 1800s, the alley right-of-way was overlooked in a 1956 replat of the area, and now looks like this. This is Madison Street looking south. The alley runs essentially right through the middle of that building. And this is looking north, again, right through the middle of that building. The 14-foot alley was identified during some legal research that was done for the Madison Louise project that was being completed this year. Dieter Prohl is the owner of the property. He has prepared and submitted the vacation petition pursuant to South Dakota law and complied with the city street vacation policy. Due to the nature of this, a neighborhood meeting was not required. Dieter owns the property and essentially his buildings sit right on top of it. If the vacation is approved, an easement will not be reserved for public and private utilities. Engineering is not aware of any public use since the 1956 replat. Engineering supports the vacation.
Kurt, thank you. Anyone from the public here to speak on this item? Councilors, questions for Kurt on this?
Move to approve, Erickson.
Second.
Okay, motion approved by Erickson, seconded by Kylie. Any discussion? A vote on this, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale.
Yes.
That passes 8-0. Item 10.
A resolution vacating the South Euclid Avenue right-of-way from the south right-of-way line of West 11th Street to the north right-of-way line of West 12th Street.
This section of right-of-way, Euclid Avenue, is near West 12th Street and Grange Avenue, just a little bit to the west of that. Lloyd Companies, on behalf of Life Church, prepared and submitted the right-of-way vacation policy pursuant to South Dakota law, complied with the city vacation policy. Neighborhood meeting was required and was held earlier this year. The right-of-way to be vacated is currently unimproved. There is some surfacing there that we are not aware of how it was put down. We're assuming that an adjoining owner put it down at some point. This is Euclid Avenue looking north from the 12th Street near the railroad bridge. And this would be looking south from 11th Street, the new 12th Street bridge there in the backdrop. If the vacation is approved, an easement will be reserved for an existing sanitary sewer and also access to the 12th Street bridge. The area shown in red there. From a transportation network perspective, engineering is not opposed to the vacation, and I believe Lloyd Companies is here if you would happen to have any other questions.
Thanks, Kurt. Anyone from the public here to speak on this item? Councilors, questions for Kurt on this? Councilor Staley.
Well, I was able to go to the open house and visit with some of the people. Are we talking, do we have questions for the rest of the people here?
You can certainly address them, sure.
And so we had the Elmwood vacation for that street, and to me that, as I talked with neighbors, that was a very alive area as far as travel. I did go and look at this road, so to speak, and after talking with what their plans are for this, I just was really supportive of this. And I would like you to come up because I believe we were talking about maybe some playground equipment or buildings. Somebody want to tell what the plan is going to be? And then, Kurt, before you go, just a question. When we talk about that easement, is that going to continue to be a paved area then? Do they have to maintain a blacktop or some kind of gravel under there?
The plan that's shown up on the screen now is, I'm not sure if that has changed at all, but there would be essentially a clear path to where the easement is. They're allowed to put a parking lot over it, but they could never put a structure over it. So what they're showing is extending a parking lot over that area, which we would allow.
So an easement doesn't mean a city vehicle could actually drive into something. You just have to be able to get down underneath into the infrastructure? Is that?
Well, this one would be such that there's a sanitary sewer line that runs north and south in that vacated street. And then also we'll need access to the bridge to do any bridge maintenance. So there would be a direct access for any large trucks.
Leaving a kind of a roadway. Okay, yep. Thanks. So, welcome.
Welcome, Rich.
Good evening, Council. Rich McClure. I'm on the Board of Directors for the Sioux Falls Ministry Center. We're the nonprofit organization that has bought this building from Life Church and working with Lloyd Companies right now on redeveloping this area. And so currently we're going to be leasing this facility out to Central Church that has a location downtown and also hosting a preschool in it. And so our current plans are for the property to the west of will be vacated. There was that little triangle of grass you can see over there, along with parking. We'll have a playground over there for preschool for low-income families that will exist in this property. So we're redeveloping the area for a church right now and for other nonprofit activities.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Councilors, other questions, either for Kurt or discussion on this?
Move to approve, Erickson.
Second.
Move to approve by Erickson, seconded by Brecky. Any further discussion, council? If not, a vote on this, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Heitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Sale?
Yes.
That passes 8-0. I would just like to say thanks to Rich and to Central Church for that project. I agree, it's a great project, filling a big need in that area. So thanks for your vision there. Item 11.
Report of the September 28, 2018 Notice of Transfer of Appropriations within Major Organizational Units.
Councilors, any new business?
Mr. Mayor, if I could have a point of privilege, please.
You bet.
Privilege.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to introduce my son. I know you all know him because he's hard to he's hard to miss. And so he adores you all dearly. He begs to come to city council meetings. And because football's over, he was allowed to come along with Mr. Mayor's son, Max. And so Charlie is a second grader at All City Elementary. And so thanks for coming to hang with Mom tonight.
And Max is a fourth grader at Sioux Falls Christian. So, yeah, thanks for coming, buddy. All right.
And they've been well behaved. With that, I'll move to adjourn.
All right. Motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. Motion is carried. We're adjourned. Have a good night.
Yeah, look at that.